If you're a man and if you're struggling with parental alienation, struggling with different challenges of divorce and would like to get advice and be part of our group, please click on the WAP link below and I'll see you over there. So today's topic, we're going to talk about the different red flags that Muslim men need to see in a woman today before you get married or you commit to them, you move them into your house, and other possibilities, putting kids, building a family with them. You have to look for these red flags to make sure that you save yourself in the future from future problems. So out of all the red flags that exist, the first red flag that we have to make sure that before we marry a woman or bring her into our life as Muslim men, we need to make sure that she's on the Deen. Now, what does that mean? We need to make sure that she at least prays 5 times a day, she does her faraid, she dresses modestly, and she respects the Deen. You have to be very careful today because there's a lot of women out there, Muslim women, that take some parts of the Deen and then the other things are like, ew, 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 and they kind of make their picking and choosing parts instead of just saying, hey, look, I don't do this, even though I respect the Deen, but I'm a sinner, I don't do this. If a woman does that, at least, that's still a better character woman than the one that tries to say ew about this or question some of the things the Prophet did or the Sahabas did or how the Deen went. That's not a woman you want. That's a woman that will be problematic and will make her version of the Deen and will throw hitsy fits when you're trying to impose Deen in your house. So stay away from the woman who picks and chooses and tries to make fun of the Deen. It's not worth it. Another thing I'll add here for the brothers, another red flag, although we are allowed to marry from the book, we're allowed to marry Christians and Jews. However, from personal experience myself and from other brothers that are in my group, I highly recommend against it. Even a lot of the ulamas today have put fatwas against it, that it's not allowed in today's society because the way the courts are, the way the family system works, if the woman gets custody, she will go and teach them all the kafir stuff and all the non-believing stuff if she's a Christian woman. And I've even seen where the woman became Muslim in the marriage halfway through, not even she converted originally, and then when time came for divorce, she would say, oh, well, now the kid is going to be her religion or is going to follow that, even though she pre-marriage agreed that, hey, listen, the kids, we will never sacrifice their religion. It's going to go to the dad's side, which is Islam. But a lot of them change. And, through this, I also understand a lot of hikmah and why Allah had given the men the permission to marry non-Muslim, like a non from the book, and not the woman, because women will change and follow whichever man. And I see this all the time where a Sunni woman will marry a Shia guy and follow the Shia religion, or a Sunni will follow an Ahmadi and become an Ahmadi. Whereas a man would not change the religion, even if he's Sunni, he marries Shia, he doesn't change. Or if a man Sunni marries Ismaili, he doesn't change. And this is why Allah had the hikmah, because women are followers. A lot of them don't really think what they're saying when they're choosing religion. Religion is a lifestyle. It's actually a very serious thing. Once you take your shahada and changing from that, it's a very serious matter. So this is why I recommend brothers that are watching, please do not marry Christian or Jews, because it could potentially lead to problems. Even if it's a convert sister, you need to make sure that she is really on her deen. She's a really convert. She really believes in the Islamic principles and the fiqh before you marry her, because it's only a matter of time where she could go flip and flop and go back to her old ways or her Christian religion. So you have to be very careful when it comes to that. So that's a red flag that you have to really watch out for. Now, other red flags, before you choose a woman, one of the other things you have to make sure is that it's a woman that does not have daddy issues. A girl that does not have daddy issues. She was raised by a dad that was involved in her life. It wasn't where her mother manipulated her or the mother kicked the dad out of the house and really just talked bad things about the dad, and she decided to listen to the mother and not have a relationship with her dad. If a woman who can't respect a father or a man figure in her house, she will not respect you when the time comes, and she will do the same type of things that her mother did to her father. And I really recommend, make sure that when you're looking at even a woman that is raised by a father, that you have a conversation with the father and understand how he raised her, and as well as having a conversation with her about how she respects her father or not. Because if she doesn't, trust me, you don't want this issue. You do not want to marry this woman. Trust me, it's going to have problems, and later she'll manipulate the kids against you. I've seen this time and time over again. Guys, brothers married for 10-15 years to a woman. When she leaves them, she had daddy issues before, she'll blame the male again. A lot of these women, they come with this victim mindset that they're women and there's a victim, and all they need to blame for all their problems is a man. It's always a man. You being that man in the relationship, she will blame you. Men are evil. That's what she's going to say. So stay away from women that have daddy issues. It's a big red flag. And I'm telling you, a lot of guys ignore this. And listen, you could do whatever and choose to ignore this. Later, you'll realize that what I was saying is right. Number 3 is a woman who identifies as a feminist, or a woman who says, women and men are equal. We're 50-50. We belong in the workforce. Please, guys, stay away from these women. These are women that will compete with you. They'll never be thankful for the work that you do. They don't appreciate men. Their whole agenda is to use men. Their agenda is not to respect you. You can pay the bills, you can take her on vacations, you can buy her Rolex watches, you can buy her jewelry, and guess what she's going to say at the end of it? Oh, but you didn't buy me a house. You could do whatever for this woman. She will still be unthankful, but she'll claim that it's supposed to be 50-50 in the marriage, even if she doesn't contribute 50-50. Again, the feminist argument never really holds, but a woman that identifies as a feminist, who believes in those feministic rituals, please stay away. You don't want to be in a woman competing with you. It'll be a nightmare. It will not be fun. It's a red flag that cannot be ignored. Other red flags right after this is a woman who throws hitsy fits. So if it's one of those women that from time to time again would start a fight or debate with you and wants to see your opinion, even though you've answered her many times about your opinion in life, she'll always try to find something to create a fight for. Like some of these women love to create drama and problems. And trust me, you don't want to be in that situation. Why? Because even then you will end up forced to calling police, which you don't want to do that, but you will that's the only way to sometimes control them is call the police. And a lot of times if you're married to that woman, they'll probably separate you from the house and she's going to end up living in that house that you're paying for. So it's just not a good sign to invite them. This is not a good thing to overlook. It's a red flag. Please don't do this, please. If you like this video and like more content, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It would mean a lot to us. Now let's get back in the video. On top of that, when I talk about hitsy fits, so let's add another thing into another red flag: a violent woman or an abusive woman. A woman who threatens to hit you, throw plates at you, throw things at you, threatens you that if you do this, I'll do this. If you do this, I will hit you. If you do this, she tries to break stuff in the house, throws your laptop. The list goes on. This is not a woman that if you see this pre-marriage, you see the woman has anger issues, cut it there. Again, cops are going to get involved. Someone's going to get charged. You're going to have to explain yourself in court. It's just not fun. So stay away from these type of women. Another basic thing not to look for is for a woman who's materialistic always. All she's looking for is, how can I benefit from this marriage, or how much meher are you bringing? Especially the woman that says, oh, what are you buying me for in this marriage? What type of house? What type of dowry? What type of stuff is coming? A lot of these high demand women that demand a lot of material wealth from you, do not do it. If you felt that vibe in the pre-marriage conversations, rather to cut the marriage now than to have a lifelong bill. Trust me, it's never enough for them. I know guys that are buying their 50th Chanel bag and 60th Louis bag and it's still never enough. It just sits in a closet. Trust me, you want to stay away from that woman, not bring her into your life. One thing I'll say is another red flag is a woman who has a high body count, let's say, or if she's disclosed her past where she's been with a lot of partners intimately. Now, it's a tricky thing, especially if she was a non-Muslim and then she converted, and that's one thing, and she changed her ways, but it's still a red flag. A woman who's had lots of relations in the past has an issue of pair bonding, and this is proven scientifically. Women who sleep around have issues with pair bonding and they'll never be satisfied. They'll keep their exes around. They will always be talking to a lot of guys at the same time. They're never really single. So trust me, you don't want that, because after the honeymoon phase is over in the marriage and when hard stuff comes, she will walk out on you, she will cheat on you, she will leave you for another man, and she will dump you in a way where she would not even care if you end up on the street. It's one thing to dump and still care about the person. The other way, a lot of these women that have these high body counts, they literally don't give a shit about you. They will literally see you die at the corner of a street. Stay away from these type of women. Another red flag that we could talk about is a woman who posts on social media revealing dresses, revealing clothes, showing her cleavage, showing her body, showing her legs. First of all, a good Muslim woman to even attract. Second of all, to even marry, that's another conversation. But if she's not modest in dressing and if she's showing too much and she has a profile where a lot of men can see her pictures and have access to her pictures, that's not a woman you want to marry. Because imagine some guy is in the toilet looking at her pictures and releasing himself to your wife. You do not want a woman like that entering your life and marrying her. It's just a headache. A lot of these women have insecurities that they'll project on you. They will hold double standards. They'll themselves post naked pictures while you as a man can't even post a picture in a business attire because you're attracting other women, but they have their own insecurities to feel from. So I highly recommend not to marry these type of women, because it's just going to be another problem and they'll have these double standards. Another red flag to look for in these women, and this is one that's controversial. It's very controversial, but however, I can tell from experience that it just comes with baggage. So do not, I know it's controversial because the whole point of Islam and multiple wives was to be able to take care of single mothers that exist. But a lot of these single mothers, men end up marrying, making them their wife, take care of their kid. They're not thankful. They come with a lot of baggage and they come with a lot of history. Second of all, the kid is not yours. So even when you try to play with him or do something with the kid or her kid or daughter, it's just a problem, because they will look at you as not the father and they will say, well, you can't do this with him, you can't do that with him, and it just becomes a very negative thing. And then her ex is also involved in the picture, so he's coming up to the house, picking up the kids. It's just not a healthy environment to be in. So I would recommend highly, if you can avoid this. I know that as Muslims we're supposed to take care of this, but in today's way, the way the family courts and everything is set up, especially in a lot of these women, the way they bring the baggage with having police involved in their previous marriages and having a crazy ex or this or that, because of that, it's better to stay away from these single mothers and try to find a woman that doesn't have this baggage. Trying to find a woman that does not have kids if you're looking for for a marriage partner, I highly recommend this is a red flag. I know it's controversial. However, I still recommend that if you can, stay away from that. And if you do choose a single mother, well, you gotta set a lot of boundaries and you gotta like have a lot of hard conversations up front to make sure that later it does not cause problems, and have a very solid prenup and have these things in an agreement, because it's just a challenging thing to navigate to begin with. So I know it's controversial, but it's a red flag on my list as well. Another red flag is a woman with tattoos. A Muslim woman with tattoos, that's already a big red flag, that she was revealing her body to some other tattoo artist and letting him tattoo. And what was the whole point of the tattoo? What is she trying to prove with that tattoo? And if it's in very like hidden places, that's even another thing. Like who did she make that tattoo for? So it's not a woman with a clean mind. It's not a good thing. And if it's a woman with tattoos, it leads up to problems. Trust me, a lot of people have done studies on this. It's a big red flag. So stay away from women with tattoos. So ask this conversation before marriage if she has tattoos. She does. If it's one tattoo here and there, she made it in mistake on her hand or something, you could overlook it. However, I'm telling you from experts, tattoos is a big red flag. And most of these women are violent and they're not women of good character. These are some of the red flags that I highly recommend, and we can go recap them. I can put them in a list in the description. I highly recommend, especially in today's day and age, brothers, please, when you're marrying a woman, already the equation is against you. Marriage is an institution that's written to screw you over, especially if you're getting married on paper with the government, which I don't recommend at all. I highly recommend if you're just getting married, go marry in your church or in the mosque as Muslims, but do not marry in the institution. And even if you decide to live with a woman together after you got your nikah done, get a cohabitation agreement done with a lawyer that defines the rules and regulations of this cohabitation common law relationship, let's say, on paper, because trust me, these women will come after everything that you have and then some, with interest, with tax. And trust me, they will say all the nice things before marriage to get you involved. After you have kids and you have things with them, they will screw your life. So please be very careful. Even if you are careful and you wet these red flags, it has no guarantee that you will be in a successful marriage or they can't turn on you. A woman will still turn on you. I've talked about it in other videos. If you look, it's called the switch. Take a look at that video that I posted earlier. It talks about how they'll switch up on you, how they get the free pass by society for any time to switch on you and cause all this havoc, and still you're the one left with the bill. So at the end of the day, we're going to come up with more content. If you guys are interested, join our WAP group. If you want to personally book a session with me and have a conversation, if you're a brother looking to get married and understand the dynamics of today, especially with a brother who's been through divorce and has been through challenges in life and seen some of these women. I run a group of men where I see a lot of these different things, and we have good statistics and data on what happens in today's marriages. So I highly recommend, if you're a brother seriously interested in having a conversation with me before getting married, book. I'll put the WAP link in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Assalamu alaikum.